Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. I recently attended a Foundry 42 UK office tour at the end of June 2017. I was given the chance to see what was being worked on with a large focus of 3.0 and beyond for the Star Citizen Alpha stuff. But I was also given the opportunity to interview Erin Roberts, and I asked him some questions about the upcoming Alpha 3.0, about 3.1, some mechanics, Squadron 42, and more. This video will be a quick overview of that interview and the tour and a little bit of the Star Citizen afterwards, I suppose. What's coming with 3.0? So with my interview with Erin, let's start with that. There is a number of new shops and items to spend your Alpha UEC on. This will help get players hooked onto the game, and there's going to be tangible gameplay there. The first proper version of Persistence is going to be in. If you leave your ship at a location or a planet and log out there, you will spawn back there when you come back into the game. You might have ships and items that are at different locations around the Stanton system as well, so your ships will stay there and that sort of jazz as well. If you die, you'll go back to your last major zone or respawn area that you were at. There is a logout timer as well, that if you try and log out, the idea being that if you log out somewhere extremely unsafe, or try to log out somewhere extremely unsafe, or someone's fighting you, you're likely going to get killed. But you still have the ability to log out in an emergency if the kitchen's on fire or something, or if you can't get back to a safer area in time. There is still a reputation system for criminality, the good and bad guy kind of stuff, but you're no longer going to continuously spawn at Olisar and Grimhex. There is a lot more locations, and you'll be able to spawn back where you were when you logged out. You will be able to buy upgrades, systems, weapons, and items for your ship, as well as for your character. There's going to be generated missions, refueling, rearming, planetary exploration, trading, replacing your ship, and lots of other ways to make and spend your Alpha UEC. Insurance and supply and demand. The idea, as well, is that they want to make common and cheaper ships more easily replaceable and available in Alpha 3.0, but have reasons why you wouldn't want to lose your ship. When your ship gets destroyed, you lose all the items on it, and you'll be given the stock model again. So insurance is going to be cheaper with those common ships, and if you lose that ship, it can be replaced quickly, whereas more expensive and rarer ships could potentially take days to replace based on where it is on the queue. If lots of Super Hornets keep on dying, then it could be a bit more of a wait before you get yours if yours has just been destroyed. The mortality of your ship and player will be much more important in 3.0. They want you to be able to look after your ship and your character and have consequences if you don't. Erin didn't specify if ships were going to be purchasable in 3.0 with Alpha UEC, so I suspect that a mission means it's unlikely, but we'll have to wait and see. That's the sort of stuff that they will try and get in at some point, and I suspect that we as a community can push them to have it in 3.1 if it's not in 3.0. The Delta Patcher. They want, if possible, to get the Delta Patcher in Alpha 3.0 or just afterwards, and that's the current plan, meaning that we won't have to download massive files every time we have an update, and the potential for much quicker, smaller patches, content, weapons, ship additions to be dropped in when they're finished, as well as hotfixes and balance passes are there too. Mining and Alpha 3.0. So mining is the next big mechanic being added after Alpha 3.0, and will land in 3.1. You'll be able to land on planets, find deposits, and then mine them up. The quickest and easiest iteration of mining will be planet side for them. So they do have plans for asteroids and gas as well, and it's possible that they will get asteroid mining in 3.1 as well, apparently. But creating mineral veins and allowing players to mine them planet side is significantly easier and will definitely be in that first iteration. 3.0 represents the backbone and skeleton of the game. It allows them to much more rapidly flesh out game mechanics and content, as now a large portion of those features and engine are done. Gas and asteroid mining will be a thing, asteroid mining possibly coming in 3.1 as I said, but again, 3.1 will also add more shops, locations, stuff to buy, missions and content. Erin is very excited about jobs and roles that support and lead on to more player interaction and are part of some of the larger roles, hopefully which will be coming in 3.1 as well. So this is like information game stuff he was talking about, finding locations of asteroid fields, making them available to other players by marking them with nav beacons and then selling them on. Service beacons as well, so this is going to allow players to request refueling, put down distress signals, calling for aid in general, or he's very excited as well about quantum interdiction, so this is going to be pulling players out of Q drive, quantum drive, in an area of effect like a net, which will require pirates or people doing that to work out where their trade routes are, and work out how to pull ships out and why they're going to do that and ambush people. If players have made their own nav beacons, finding out where they are is going to allow you to do that a lot more effectively. And hopefully a lot of that gameplay will be coming in 3.1. Ground battles. So, ground and space battles are both going to be of an epic scale, and in a lot of situations they will bleed over from air to ground to space, and all of them combined in a combined arms fashion. The system allows for an Idris to go really close to a planet and unload its weaponry. They are adding tracked vehicles, static defences, tanks, missile systems, and more in the future. And a lot of this is apparently planning on coming with 3.0 as well. They want to have locations where you can't take ships because there are anti-air or ship defences, and that you would need to disable those kind of static defences first, and then you'd have to go in the ground as a group or in stealth to disable them, and then your ships can come in. They have plans for base building mechanics as well later down the road. You'll be able to spawn there, defend it, use it as a store for goods and ships. You'll be able to have ones with your org, you'll be able to have your own ones, if you've got enough tangible assets to purchase that. But they will be attackable too, and ground vehicles and installations are going to be a big part of that combat there, and there is no real maximum size of that. But players will be able to build functional bases with walls and habitation modules and lots more. The vertical slice. So, they still plan to show the vertical slice, which is Squadron 42's pie. You've got a big pie that's Squadron 42, and you take a slice out of that to see what the pie is basically made of and all of the tangible gameplay that's in there without any spoilers. And that's what the vertical slice is. So that vertical slice that we had missing from CitizenCon 2016 is still going to be shown, and it's probably got a lot more buff and polish now. And Squadron 42 is very different from the Persistent Universe in what they're able to show. It's a standalone game, Squadron 42. They can't have the whole community playing and help reiterating it like they do with the Star Citizen side of the game. It would ruin it, basically. You'd keep on playing an aspect of the game and keep on improving it, and then you would entirely know what's going on story-wise. They want Squadron 42 to be as polished as possible for release, and it genuinely to wow people. They will show us the vertical slice when it's ready, and that it's to a AAA standard polished super wow state. There will be a public schedule for Squadron 42 as well. It wasn't specified when this would occur or the depth of that schedule, but it was said that when they're ready they will start to put that schedule on there, and we will start to be able to see when we've got dates planned for Squadron 42's release. They are making some forms of traditional advertising for Squadron 42, most likely closer to release as well. There will be a lot of marketing in a similar vein to what they've already done. But I would also expect coverage in magazines, websites, and trailers online too. Ship progression. So, ship progression, values and costs of ships are all still being worked out. They want the community to help as they go forward, though, to help balance that. The idea is that some ships, especially the larger ones, are going to be extremely expensive and would be bought by an org or group together rather than by a single player. He equates the value here as well to ships that are being bought now with IRL monies to be effectively good value compared to how much they're going to cost with UEC in-game, especially the larger ones. The smaller starting ships will be much more affordable in-game, but prices will ramp up fast as you're going up to larger and larger ships. Building up your ship and becoming attached to it are parts of the gameplay that they're going for. They want you to really enjoy your ship and it not to be this constant upgrading process, but you to be upgrading it every so often. But with 3.0 and beyond, they will work with the community to balance ship progression and get that appropriate to time played and all that sort of jazz. I briefly asked a question about are there other human forces around the universe and will we see them? So there are, out of side of the UEE, there are human forces and militias that will, as well as legitimate pirate organisations controlling areas. They'll have their own look and feel and style. Fleet battles. So they're going to have these massive fleet battles. And they're also going to have dynamic control of systems too. You will possibly be able to force out the Vandal or enemies in a system. There's NPCs out of a system in the Persistent Universe, and then those systems may get colonised by humans, or military operations might go into the area. You might wipe out the Vandal in an entire system as a large group, and then patrols from the UEE might pop up there and might make that area more explorable by other players. Pushing the Vandal out of a system would be hard, but it is possible and part of the game mechanics. But Conversely, there will be large-scale invasions from NPCs and from players that might want to take control of systems if players and NPCs don't protect them. But there will be massive NPC battles, these huge fleet battles that players can get involved with if they want. You might stumble upon them. They're also going to feature heavily in Squadron 42 as well, those fleet battles. I mean, that's probably one of the major pulls of Squadron 42, that seamless gameplay, but also those giant military fleet battles. Effects on the universe by players. So players will have effects on lore, missions, news in game. Players may become a very well-known pirate and get missions generated to hunt or kill him or whatever. They have ideas for news teams as well that are done mainly by CIG games master types that will be reporting on players. Kind of like an assisted games master role to aid player narrative and overall plot. But this could also help just with news being broadcasted in the universe, almost like a real news network. I suspect there will be some form of dedicated team there, whether they're volunteers or games masters remains yet to be seen. PvP, hardcore versus casuals. So, some areas of space will be heavily regulated by the UEE or some form of NPC police presence. If you attacked someone law-abiding in that area, assuming there's good communication satellites and there's policing in that area, you would be quickly marked as a pirate and they would attempt to hunt you down very quickly. There would be very quick repercussions to your actions unless you were very effective and quick and knew exactly how to get away. Eventually, they want to remove armistice zones like we have around Port Olisar in 2.6.3 and allow players a lot more freedom. But if you did pull out your weapon in a secure area, you're most likely to be taken down very quickly by security. Some areas might require you to give in your weapons before entering, and only allow players of a certain reputation to carry weapons in others. This system has some exploits that they do actually want players to use. Communication arrays monitor areas, flagging players and NPCs as pirates. This can be disabled, allowing for players to potentially kill or rob or do something untoward before those arrays are refixed. So there'll be like dark spots in those areas, and thus you'll never get flagged as a pirate. The perfect robbery. But communications can also take a while to travel. So even if you are detected, you could potentially outrun the law by travelling from system to system. It's all about risk and reward, and they do want tangible gameplay there, but you might get captured, or committing crimes might have various consequences. Fines would be a very common one. You just have to pay off a big fine. Kill on sight orders if you're really naughty. There might be bounties on you, and you might be outlawed from certain areas. They want legitimate piracy to be part of the game. It's not griefing, but they specifically want to make sure that griefing is not encouraged or rewarded. So piracy, good. Players getting pirated, good. Legitimate gameplay, but not griefing in any way. Modding and Amazon Web Services. There is still a commitment to allow the they're going to be supporting modding for Star Citizen, but after the game is finished. In regards to partners and sponsorships with the game, anything that makes sense with the game and the community is a possibility in the future, like they had with AMD in the past and that sort of stuff. That's the sort of thing they may be looking at in the future. They're not ruling anything out. But with modding, they are going to support modding for Star Citizen in the future. But think after game release. Star Citizen revenue streams. So, how are they going to make money in the long term for these MMOs and things? So they're sticking with that. You can purchase a game package and a ship with those game packages, and there will be a limited amount of game packages, and then the game is basically free to play. So it's buy to play the game. A revenue stream for them, though, will be selling Alpha, or actually UEC now, not Alpha UEC, but UEC, once the game is live. Some people will play it a lot, or grind missions to earn credits, while some might only have a limited amount of time, but they're disposable income, so may want to purchase UEC to grab their next ship or weapon. It's literally paying to offset time. This should help regulate unofficial gold sellers as well, like you get in WoW and EVE, as well as helping support the game, and hopefully meaning they don't need any other forms of revenue streams. However, they will keep an open mind when it comes to how to support the game in the future. Their plan is long-term, and they do want to support it for many years. If other revenue streams are necessary or appropriate, they will just be discussed with the community and explored. The long-term studio. So, they have no plans for games after Squadron 42 Episode 3, So Squadron 42 Episode 1, 2, and 3, and Star Citizen at the moment. Their focus is getting on Squadron 42 Episode 1 and Star Citizen Alpha 3.0 out first, and then they're going to go linearly beyond that, chronologically. The engine that they have built now, however, can be kind of used to build a lot of different types of gameplay and game modes and games. It's a massive universe simulator that you could use to create a game or a mode on a single planet to an incredible high level of detail, or just focus on a system or go to a whole universe if you wanted to. They are going to start to see the scale and quality of what is possible with 3.0 Alpha first. So once we get that in our hands, we'll be able to see the kind of the scope of those planets, how detailed they are at the micro level. They also want to support the persistent universe for 10 years plus. A lot of this is going to be creating new systems, professions, ship, weapons, content, and gameplay, which they'll continually do. They'd like to do a lot of the linear, super high quality missions, similar to a Squadron 42 style, in Star Citizen as well. And by that I mean large story arcs that can be played with friends and groups. These really high quality, really almost single-player AAA experiences into themselves, but in the persistent universe in the future. The planets themselves are going to be huge, with massive amounts of gameplay, but they can do a lot with them, and with this in the future as well. Possibly new games in the future, maybe, but they're not thinking about them yet. Studio tour. So, I went on the studio tour around the UK studio. There isn't much I can tell you really about the studio tour. I am under an NDA to not divulge specific content of what we saw. There is a couple of things I can tell you though, that are more wider overviews of things. There is a lot more ships, weapons, vehicles, items, and stuff that they are working on that we haven't seen yet. There's a lot going on. And basically delays in Alpha 3.0 or previous delays or whatever have not stopped them working on 3.1, 3.2, Squadron 42 Episode 1 and beyond. I am very much, when I was there, I was very much looking to see how accurate that schedule report that we get every week was. And everything I saw and went out of my way to see matches that schedule report pretty much, except a lot of the stuff is a lot more fleshed out with certain tasks. Obviously, some of this is beyond 3.0 though, so they're obviously working on that a lot more. And obviously, with those schedule reports, they're a bit delayed from when we get them to what's going on. So, there's also Ben on Ben's Day with Batgirl said there was a game changer concept ship in the future. He did mean that. I believe I've seen what he means, and yes. I am a massive Star Citizen project fan. Everything that I saw was exciting and extremely hype-worthy. I have no idea how they select what to put into ATVs, as there is a lot there. I am not paid or financially endorsed by CIG in any way, and seeing what was worked on there really gives me a perspective of, wow, this is fucking cool. This type of experience makes me really feel quite lucky to be covering this game almost. The bar citizen afterwards was fantastic as well. There was a large group of backers and at least 40, 50 devs throughout the evening. We took over the pub pretty much. Here is a sample of the bar citizen afterwards to see me there.
Doing really well. I just thought I'd call you and see how it's going, and I'm outside at the moment because it's pretty noisy in there, but I wanted to show you around what's happening here in Wilmslow.
Tilt the camera down.
At the Bar Citizen. How's that? Can you see me now?
We can see you now. So you're at a Bar Citizen?
Yeah, here in Wilmslow. So we've got about 20, 25 backers here and about 50 devs. So there's a lot of good conversation going on about Star Citizen and gaming in general. It's a nice fine night. It's about 8:30 here at night, and it's still relatively daylight.
Okay. Is that BoredGamer behind you?
Sorry.
Is that BoredGamer right there?
That is BoredGamer here. Shall we say hello?
Sure.
Hey, BoredGamer, say hello to the stream. Hello, I'm BoredGamer. You may remember me from such things as talking to camera right now and being slightly. There we go. And that's Star Citizen.
It was a great experience, and I hope I can get to visit the Foundry 42 Frankfurt studio at some point as well. Whereas I feel that the UK studio gives me a big cross-section view of what the game looks like at the moment, kind of like the what's coming soon experience for Star Citizen. The Frankfurt studio is more focused on some of that cool planetary tech and other cool weapons and mechanics as well that I also want to see. Every month, we give away a ship for July into Nox Q. All you need to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my Star Citizen videos during that month. Any questions for Star Citizen Alpha 3.0 stuff, or questions directly to me, or about Star Citizen development in general, drop them in the comments below. A special thank you to my Patreons, who allow me to create the amount of content I do, and to go on these trips in the first place, and these tours and things. I hope some of you got your questions answered as well. If you are interested in becoming one of those Patreons, there will be a link below, as well as everything else that we've talked about as much as I can. I will link below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help me, and I will see you in the verse.